Welcome to the Emotional Mastery Podcast. Today, I have Christelle I, who is a career optimization coach and the founder of Freedom Catcher Academy. I'm really excited to have this conversation because I actually grew up as an expat. And so I've sort of had a little bit of the reverse of what you've experienced. For me, coming back to America 9 years ago, I had massive culture shock because I was so used to being overseas. So I think this will be a really interesting conversation to sort of see both perspectives of it, because
Yeah.
that's definitely what drew me into this story, is the expat piece, because I resonate so strongly with that. But I'm going to give you the floor and just let you introduce yourself, sort of anything pivotal along the way, your journey, and how you got to what you're doing today.
Oh, wow. There's a lot to say. Thank you very much for having me with you today. Yes, so where to start? So I think I can start with the fact that I'm French, because we can hear that with my name and with my accent as well. But maybe you can hear like a touch of German, because there is so many people telling me that when I speak English, so they can hear the French accent, but as well the German accent into it, because I have been living in Germany for 20 years now. So I'm not going to say that Germany is Germany is my second country, if I can say that. So my husband is German. We have 3 kids together, 3 boys, and they are between 9 and 13. And right now I am in a hip hop street dance competition, European competition, with one of my boy. I just do a break to speak with you, but then I'm going to go over there again and then to hip hop. So there is a lot of energy here around. So it's just crazy to see these kids really living their passion and putting a lot of effort into that. And it's really related as well with Freedom Catcher Academy and with the job that I'm doing now, because I help mostly women to find their passion. I am really passionate about passion. And there is a story behind that. But really, so what I love is to discover the purpose of a person, to go through the journey with the person, because it's really a journey. And to really discover, okay, oh yeah, if I do that, I am feeling alive, and I feel the energy coming back, and then we go through the process with the person, and then we discover the uniqueness of the person. I love doing that. So really like to see the diamonds, and then to let the person see it, because usually it's easy for us to see the strength and the quality of other person, but to let them see it is just amazing. So it's what I do with the Freedom Catcher Academy. It's really helping women to see the diamond, to see the purpose, and to build a career around it. And another part that what I do is that usually, so to have a nice career or to have a purpose, it's great. But if the private part is not working properly, we spoke about children just before. So if harmony at home is not there, if every time you go back home and you feel like, oh my God, after 5 minutes, I'm so drained, I need to go out. So it's not freedom. It doesn't feel like that. So what I'm doing as well with some of my clients, not all of them, but some of them who really need that, is that we build a team at home. So we do everything in order for the person to feel good at home, to have the right relationship with the children, with the partner, and as well to be sure that she have the right level of energy. So to simplify the life and to what she's believe that is important or is fun or makes sense, and everything which is not important, doesn't make sense, is then we just try to delegate or to delete it. So it's mostly what I do, really like letting them have this purpose, finding the way to go there, and having this harmony at home and feeling just great about life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I think that's so, so special, right? To help people find that like passion and purpose, because so often we're just, I feel like it can become so monotonous, right? In our daily routine. And we're just like almost like in this robotic state of like having to go to work and then come home and do the kids. And so like being able to find that like little spark that lights you up and sort of like expand on that, I think is so beautiful. And then of course, the coming home piece, as I've built my own business too, I use my kids as like a mirror, right? So it's like when I'm like frustrated here or I'm, like, no, I have to do this work. Like you guys just like go like whatever. And it's like take a pause. And if I'm not fulfilled there, I can't translate it into my business either. So
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah. How do you support them in that process?
So for building a team at home, so it's how I call it. So
Mm.
like it's really like having a resilient family and building a team at home, a functioning family. So we have like three part. One part is all about what kind of value I want to put in my family, because we are all different. We are all different kind of values. So what kind of values are important
It froze.
for a code for the family. It's okay, we in this family, it's important to have that and that and that. So that's the first part. And then we look at with the parents. I really look more with the parents. Or even the adults feel safe in the environment they are,
it Sorry to
and
interrupt you.
the
It froze a
emotional.
couple
Yeah.
times. So I
Oh, I'm
missed like some
sorry.
chunks of what you were saying. Yeah. I don't think you could hear me because I was like, it froze.
No,
Yeah, I heard
no,
like the
yeah.
first part about like the values and things like that. And then it came back just for a second and then it split off again.
Mhm. Sure. So yeah, the values is about the values that are important for you, the kind of value you want to really teach your children, or the kind of values that you want to live most. But it's not all about you only, it's about the family. So you have to think about the values of your partner. And if the children are old enough, like 7, 8, 9 or more, so they have already so some thought around it, and then you can include them. So I know that for my children, it was kindness, it was love, it was respect, it was a nice communication. So in my home, harmony or communication, so nonviolent communication is very, very important. But then we have like kind of excellence as well, because I was engineer before. My husband has a PhD as well. So we want to tell them that when you do things, you have to do them properly. And then I have something in my family. It's something like, well, we are a team, so we help the other of the family. So sometimes one of my sentences, what did you do today to help the family?
Mm.
And I really love that. So my last one, so my 9 years old, okay, now I'm always going to take care of the dish after lunch or after dinner. So it's my part, and this way I can serve the family. And I tried before to tell him to do that, and he was no, 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 no. But now it's okay, what do you do to serve the family? What is your one part? And then it just came up with the idea. So and they love to have the impression that they have enough power to support as well the family, even if they are little, even if they are 5, 6, 7 or 9 years old. So that is for the values. And then it's really like a code of honor, so like how we behave in our family. And then it's easier to just drive the family in this direction. And when it's not working, so it's easier to just say, well, look, so we have that in the family, we all agreed with that, what happened? And then it's just easy to open the conversation around it. So that is for the code of family, or the code of honor, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first part. The second part is very, very important as well. It's about stability. And what I said is that there is like three different parts, very important stability parts. One is the financial one. And that is in all team that you want to create, not only at home, but at work as well, exactly the same. So the financial part. So you have to feed your family. So that's important. So that has to be stable. The second one is the social part. So they have to feel safe where they are. So in like for the children, it's at school and at home and just in the small environment that they have. So small children have a very small environment, and older children are slowly a bigger environment like the city, or when they are grown up like the world or whatever. So that is the social stability. And then there is the emotional stability. So I work a lot on the emotional part. Children have to feel safe. So adults have to be very emotional stable in order to give this stability to the children. But as well, we have to give like kind of free, like a frame for them to understand that there is some rules, but at the same time, kind of freedom to understand them why we have the frame, and to grow as well, to experiment a bit, to feel different kind of emotion, but in a kind of safe environment again, in order for them to grow and to be more to be more so stronger, more resilient. And the last part, it's all about flexibility, but because so a family and again in a team at work is the same. So it has to be resilient. It's always moving, right? So we always have some kind of trouble or challenge or whatever. So we do a lot, and I know I do that in my family, but we have done in a lot of families now. It's like leadership shift, or like I am been 4 days away. My husband takes care of the two other at home. So we have 3 children. So 2 are at home. I am away with one of my child. A few years ago, I have been like 3 weeks completely gone in Brazil, and my husband took the 3 children and just continue to live without me during these 3 weeks, and it's fine. He's able to do that. So that means that without me, the family can function. It's working. Without him, the family works as well. So I can take care of the children without my husband. It's working. And then what we do is that without us, we train our children to function as well. So that means that they are very responsible, that they are very open. They feel comfortable enough to go out of their comfort zone in order to go maybe onto the grocery, so a young age, and to buy things, or to stay alone very quickly, or to cook dinner or lunch, and so on. So take responsibility of the family. So that means that if I am sick, or if my husband is sick or whatever, I know that they can manage things. And therefore that give us all more freedom.
Yeah.
Because they are very responsible. Our work is to have this structure, and their work is to be good at school and to take care of the small responsibility that they have, and they do it, and they feel strong with that. So
Is
it's what I do.
Yeah. Is this something that can be implemented at any time? Like, say, maybe during that beginning phases of life, the home life was a little bit chaotic, and then like maybe mom and dad are now, or if it's a single mom, or, now sort of starting to come into this work and starting to grow themselves and their business, but yet, there's sort of been an unbalance of, or just, I guess, a confusion of the messaging, right? And so how do you then begin the structure and instilling these values and all these things?
That's a very, very, very good question. I have, to be honest, I have men coming to me sometimes because they just got divorced, and then now they are alone with the children from time to time, and so they have to rebuild this kind of stability, and they don't know how to start. And indeed, so there is another kind of message on the other part with the mother. So that is the kind of client that I have sometimes. So well, we work on the kind of the values that the children have on the other side. and the kind of value that the children will have in this new home. And we don't judge. It's just for the children. So we discuss about that. Okay, here when you are at mom home, so it's like that. When you are at dad's home, it is like that. Maybe it's contrary. Maybe you don't really understand, but we can speak about that. So we try to just explain, because children, they don't understand. They just feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they just feel something is wrong. I don't know how to do. I don't understand, but they cannot really put words. So we help them to understand the situation. So, okay, I understand now. So you feel this way because at mom's place you can do that, and here you cannot, and so on. So we just put words on the emotions, and then we figure out ways to deal with that. And then we let them understand as well that it's a complicated situation, and then they don't feel it's chaotic, and then they don't feel good about that, and it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay not to feel good, and it's going to go away at some point, going to be easier. And then it's really like the emotional stability. So we work a lot on that. So how to communicate with the children, how to again, to eventually let them explain their emotion, or to put words on their emotion if they are not aware enough, conscious enough to put themselves words on them, and to better understand the kind of needs they have. And if it's possible, so to give them what they need. So if they need more security, or more respect, or more love, or more time, or more space, or so we can try to give them. And sometimes it's just not possible to give what they need right now, because the situation make that it's complicated. Then we can explain again. So I know you need that right now. And I'm sorry, but right now it's complicated. But I know, and I'm doing my best.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives a little bit of, okay, so someone understand me, someone tries to take care of that, and we are going to find a way. So I found it's really, really important. So that's this emotional stability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like a lot of times just validating their emotions, right? Even if you can't exactly, take care of those needs like right in this moment, just being like, I understand how you feel, or, just giving them the power of like, to know that they're not wrong, right? Because I think a lot of times when you're
Exact.
like, oh, don't feel that, or you'll be fine, or whatever, it's just so invalidating to the child, where they're
Yes, I
like, oh,
agree.
I shouldn't be feeling this, I guess. So yeah,
Mm.
I definitely think that's a really
No,
powerful.
it's really, if the emotion is really, really high, it's like really to create the space to take the emotion into, okay, I am with you. I
Mhm.
understand you. You don't really need to find solution, but that the fact that they feel understood is like,
Mhm.
okay. And indeed, and then to say, I understand, and you know what? That's normal. You are not a weirdo or whatever. It's just normal. So usually when something like that happens, people react like that. You react like that. That's normal.
Mhm.
It's not nice. I don't say it's easy, but it's normal.
Mhm. So you had mentioned before, about the parent having emotional stability to then provide that for the family, right? Because of course kids mimic more what they see than what they hear. But
Yes.
say you are a parent, maybe you're getting divorced, or you're just going through like a really difficult time. Like, how do you recommend or suggest or support, what women or men in going through emotional chaos or turbulence, and how they can show the child that it's okay to feel those things while also kind of keeping that container of stability while they're going through it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't believe that it's good to play or to fake.
Mm-hmm.
So it's depending as well, depending of the children that we have, but so usually children can feel things, and there is this high sensitive children, and they can even really feel if
It's frozen again.
positively. So they
There you are.
okay, we are back.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah. So I think it cut off like right in the beginning. You were just talking about how they're able to feel it from the parents.
Okay. So they are able to feel. So I am not a fan of faking, or because then when they feel it and it's not they have the feeling that they have done something wrong, and so they have to change something. So they are taking the responsibility of the situation, which is not what we want. So I am really a fan of telling them, not in details, but just telling them, okay, you know what, it's a difficult situation right now for me, and therefore that's why sometimes maybe I'm not going to react the way I would like to react, or I'm going to be a little bit more maybe aggressive, or maybe you will see me sometime cry, or but everything's going to be fine. So again, so it's really to try to reinforce that. So I know that, so again, it's always depending of the age of the children, but what I always have done is I try to explain then with different kind of words. So right now, so I do stress management for a lot of person, and I just told my child, so 13 years old, so when you are stressed out, so usually, so we are more in the amygdala is activated, and so you are more in the mode fly or fight, or therefore, sometimes when I'm stressed out, maybe you have seen that, but I react not so nicely. And I tell that my children usually. So I tell them sometimes, I'm tired, so it's not the day to push me. So I try to prevent them to prevent the moment. And if they push me, they are not surprised. It's not really because of them, or just a part of it, but the other part is just because it's not the right day. I have no passions, and I told my child, and you have seen, so when I am stressed out or tired, so with your dad, I can be really more aggressive. So the children eventually I can control me a little bit, but with my husband a little bit less. And he told me, yes, I have seen that already. And I say, yeah, and it has nothing to do with him. It's really all with me. And so, and sometimes we see, like in the competition. So today we had a lot of small dramas, because the children, they are very stressed out. It's Europe competition. They are going to go to the world competition. So they are like, oh my God, it's a lot of emotions, a lot of energy. And then I told him, yeah, but don't take that personally. It's because this person is stressed out, so it's going to be fine. And maybe in 1 or 2 days, she's going to come back and to tell you that she was a little bit stressed and she's sorry. And so for the family, it's the same. So it's trying to explain the children. It's a complicated situation. And
Hmm.
maybe sometime I'm going to act this way and this way. It has nothing to do with you. And that's life.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different in a few months.
Hmm.
But right now it's how it is.
Yeah. That's what I've always tried to teach my children is that, even at school, I'm like, the way people are towards you, you can look at it as sort of a mirror. And that's more a reflection of what they have going on inside than you. Of course, as a child, if you're getting bullied at school, it's
Yeah.
very difficult to
Yeah.
not take that personally. But I think
Yeah.
it sort of gives them maybe even if it's a moment of the curiosity of like, what if this isn't about me?
Yes.
And so I think that's powerful in itself, just to be able to come back to themselves and maybe just have that reflection. And I always, when they come to me and speak about things that happen, I always sort of reflect that back, because even with them, my daughter is almost 13, my son is almost 7, so that big age gap, they just fight all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
They're just like not about it. And so I'm always
Okay.
trying, and I can hear like their complaints about themselves within their fights with each other,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. Oh, continue.
No, well, I just wanted to say that um, I really believe that we can do that at all ages. So as one of my son was 3 years old, I had a miscarriage, and I came back home, and the child asked me, "How is doing the baby?" And I just started to cry, and then I explained, okay, so there is no baby, but that's no baby anymore, but that's normal. That's life. It's okay. I'm going to be eventually sad during a few weeks, and maybe you are going to see me cry, but it's okay. It's really okay. And sadness is okay as well. So I always tell him that it's fine. And I don't know. So I know that my children, they like this transparency.
Mm,
And then they are very transparent there with their own emotion as well, because I share mine. So it's easier for them to share their own emotions.
mm,
And sometimes, so I have like my biggest son is very open, very like it's really easy for him to speak about his emotions and so on. My second son is the contrary, so really close, and it's difficult for him to speak about it. But even he's doing it. So when he has a problem, so then he comes to me and says, "Okay, Mama, can we talk?"
mm,
And then say, "Okay, let's shoot it out," and then explain that, okay, it's normal, it's okay. And then
mhm.
I ask him questions, and then he find his ways, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I love that. The power of just normalizing emotions.
Yeah.
My kids have seen me cry before. I mean, one time my son walked in and I was just like sobbing, right? And he was just like startled. But we had that conversation. He's like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "I was just
Mm,
really sad." And that's okay. It's not an everyday thing, but the fact that he saw it, I wasn't like, "Get out." And you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes that can be, we're going
yeah.
through our own things. And so, my son is a little bit more emotional. My daughter, she's emotional, but same thing. She's gotten older and she doesn't really show it as much, but just the willingness to come to me and have those conversations when they're feeling or they're crying. I work a lot with astrology. I'm not, if you're familiar with that, but I just think it's so beautiful because it's always like reflected to me, I feel like, in people's charts. And so, having my kids' charts and understanding certain aspects of it, I don't know, just this like little piece, but I think it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nice.
I'd be curious. So for me, I was born in the US and then we moved to Montreal and then we moved to Dubai. And that jump to Dubai was very big for my mom. She had never really been outside of the US. And sort of tied into what we're talking about with emotions, I know like now in hindsight, I know that was so challenging for her. She almost left. She almost like packed us up. It was just like such a
Mm,
big change for her. We never really saw that side of it at the time because we were, adjusting to new schools and friends and all sorts of things.
yeah.
So I think like she definitely made that transition in the best way for us to not see her like so upset and all that sort of stuff. But how do you recommend, if you are making such a big jump like that, to like sort of, like finding your passion and finding your new flow in a place like that when you're feeling so like
Yeah.
culture shock, completely different
Yeah.
space.
That is a good amount of my clients, because I have a lot of clients coming from like being in Germany, but coming from everywhere
Mhm.
or being somewhere else. And I found it difficult for yeah, when you are in a new country, you don't like this new country. I know that there is like I had a friend of mine, she came from Dubai,
Mhm.
and in Germany, and she thought, oh, it's going to be easy in Germany because Germany is Europe, and she came from France originally. So and Germany is not an easy place for expat people. And a lot of people thinking that, well, they come from Asia and so on, it's going to be easy in Germany to arrive because it's Europe. But in Germany, you don't really have the same expat community, and the country is a little bit cold at first, and so on. So I have that a lot, and the difficulty of the language. So if you don't speak German, so what you do, and the difficulty of taking care of your children and going to work. It's a little bit more complicated in Germany than, for instance, in France. So there is a lot of trouble there. So what we do, is, first of all, to raise the level of energy of the person, because usually when people come to me, the level of energy is kind of low, because they don't like the country, because they had to adapt, because for some of the women, indeed, so when they come in a new country with the family, first of all, they really have to take care of the family, the husband. Usually it's still like that. The husband has his new job. It's difficult for him. He really have to work a lot to adapt as well, and so on. So he has not an easy part neither. So the woman is the one really stabilizing the family, which is not an easy part when you are an expat, because you have to take care of the children, the new school, the new rules, all the things, the new culture, the new language, and so on. So there is a lot of women, it's really difficult for them to do that. Even for some of them, they even didn't want to come in this new country. So they didn't want to come, and then they have to figure out so many things, and to put their needs a little bit on the side. So what we do is we go back to raising the level of energy to indeed go back a little bit more in a positive flow, to reorganize again the family, and to see if they can just have a little bit more of time, me time for them. And then start a project. So a project can be a new career, can be a new business, can be whatever they need in order to feel good. And what is good right now is that with internet and so on, so we can work remotely. So or if you can speak another language than the language of the country you are in, you have some ways. So you don't always have to speak the language of the country. It's nicer, but at the beginning, so you can still find works or jobs, even if you don't speak the language of the country. So we look at all these kind of possibilities, and then they feel, okay, I am not trapped anymore. I have ways to feel good again. Even if I don't like the country, I can like some of the people in the country, or I can go abroad with my computer. And I can have a life even if I am not in the country that I love. So yeah.
Yeah, and that stability piece that you were talking about before, I think is really important in this phase, I guess, of that transition, being an expat.
Yeah, and the problem is that when we feel when we feel lost a little bit in our life, and like we are in this negative talk, everything is difficult, I don't want that, blah blah blah. So it's like a very low energy, and goes lower and lower and lower, and then every time we face a problem or issue, yeah, sure, and we are not really into this positive or so solution-oriented mindset. And then when we don't have that, it's difficult to create opportunities. So the first thing is to change the mindset, and to be more positive. And then when we are more positive, so we can then attract the right people, and then attract the right opportunities, and then it's good.
Yeah. Are there any specific tools that you use? Because, I think it's one thing to be single with no attachments and having to cycle through something like that where you can give yourself the time or you can lay in bed. But when you have a partner and kids and a job, and it's like you don't actually have that time to just be like, okay, I need to process through this thing. Let me give myself 3 days to just like lay in bed and cry about it. Right. So, is there any like specific tools that you find really helpful to be able to sort of raise that vibration in that sense?
Uh, I am a big fan of meditation.
Hmm.
I had my first meditation as I was 8 years old, so it's really something in my DNA. I don't know how to do without a meditation. So I know that for me, when I'm really in crisis, I go into meditation. I don't need much time. And after 5 or 10 minutes, like the story I told you about the day I came back home and I told my little boy, 3 years old, oh, there is no baby anymore, and I was crying. So I told my husband, I cannot speak right now. So just give me 20 minutes. I went in meditation. I just could somehow sort my emotion. Then I came out and I was able to tell him, okay, here's what's happening. Now I need to go to the hospital tomorrow and to organize everything and so on. So for me, it's really one big way to just calm down and to face the big emotions that I have in front of me and to change my mindset. But then there is a lot of I know that some people say, oh, I already tried meditation, I don't like it.
Hmm.
Which I understand, but it's really powerful, so you
Hmm.
really should try anyway. But then there is this really like very like positive talk. So having them written on a paper and reading them, or call a friend. Like I have 2 or 3 friends. It happened that they are coach, which is really nice. And then when I feel stuck somehow, I just share a WhatsApp. Yeah, oh, I don't feel good right now. That and that and that happened. And then okay, I have a few minutes. So do you want us to call? And then we discuss a little bit, and then always find a way for me to raise my energy. So
Hmm.
to have few friends who really can understand you, who can really not judge you and not always give you advices, because advices, they are nice, but it's not always what you need.
Hmm.
So people being able to listen and eventually being able to give you some good feedbacks or good advices if you need some. Um, Being able to meditate, write down, so journaling, that's really powerful as well. Um, Having an accountability partner if you have difficult things to do. So it's what I do with my group. So I do group coaching because I want people to connect and to see that I am not alone on this journey. And then every 2 weeks we meet and they can discuss together every day if they want. So to have this power of the group and this momentum, and that gives energy. And we are all in different situations, but on the same time, we see that we have all the kind of same problems. So that would be so the first things that I have in my mind.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
love group coaching. Or I just like love group containers, like you said, that momentum and being able to sort of like move through something together. And I definitely that meditation piece. I started meditating, I think when I was like 30, so like 6 years ago. And it's just been like such a huge piece to my like daily practice now. Like if I feel unstable, whatever, it's so easy to come back to that space. But a lot of people are like, I
Yeah.
can't stop thinking, and it's just so difficult, I
Yeah,
think,
but
to sit
they
with
have
yourself.
a wrong image of what can be meditation.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
because every day, they always heard that, yeah, it's stopping thinking, but
Yeah.
it's wrong. It's not that.
Hmm.
And you can just try it.
Yeah.
Maybe not alone, maybe with the person and guiding you. But I am used to, I do meditation for children for 3 years old to
Mm.
adults, so there is no limits then. But it's a sport, so you cannot say, okay, I'm going to meditate 1 hour now if you never started again
Yeah.
before. So it's really like sport. If you never played tennis before, you are not going to be good the first time you play tennis. Exactly
Mhm.
the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I always recommend people just to like experiment with all different types, even like walking
You are
meditations, guided
right.
meditations, just playing on music or laying down. Because I
Yeah.
think there there is one that will resonate with everyone, and I think it, for me in my own practice, I don't do the same meditation every day. I just like
Hmm.
I think I have the toolbox built, and so it's like, okay, what do I need today? So just like
Yeah.
kind of like pulling in and seeing what that is.
Yeah, exactly. But I know that for me, for instance, I have done only one meditation during more than 1 year and every
Mm.
day.
Hmm.
And that really like changed something in my, it was in, I really wanted to get better with my anger. I was very upset somehow. And during 1 year, I worked on it. So, and I have seen a huge difference. And this morning, I'm um, I had a coffee in my car, so we were a little bit late with my son. And then I shake my coffee everywhere
Mm.
in the car away and out. And then I told my son, it's okay, it's fine. So I'm going to do that later. And I told him, oh, for a few years I would have been mad
Mhm.
of me and all the circumstances or God or whatever. But I was fine. I said, okay, it's
Yeah.
okay. No problem.
Yeah. And what was that meditation that you were doing?
It's not a meditation that we can
Mhm.
find. So I really had like a very specific seminar on it, but it's a meditation about emotions and different emotions and different with chakras, this
Mm.
one, and really like trying to contract with this emotion and to let it go, contract and let it go. It's a
Mm.
very intensive meditation, not very pleasant one. It's not one because so many people ask me, what is the difference between meditation and relaxation? Well, with this meditation, you don't relax really because you are always so active with your thoughts and pushing the emotion away and so on. Yeah, so I cannot really tell you
Yeah.
what it is, but it's
Mhm.
a very, very powerful one.
Yeah. Well, and I think just the idea of like choosing one and sticking with it for that amount of time will provide some results in some way. Because I think sometimes that's part of meditation, right? It is pushing through that discomfort because whether you're sitting for 10
Yes,
minutes and you have an itch or you don't, your mind is like, okay, let's get up, or you hear a noise from the other room, right? It's like just having
exactly,
that practice of continually coming to
exactly.
a space for whatever time. Yeah. So my last question then is, okay, so let's say somebody, they've made the move, they've stabilized their families, they've aligned their values, they're working through all these things. Then how do they then go for in an expat, situation? They're then going for their dream job. Like they're finding their
Mm.
purpose, they're finding their passion, and then they're moving towards it.
Yeah. Well, there I have like I have a 3 months program for that
Mm-hmm.
where we go really with the different steps. So the first step is really to find your uniqueness. So how different you are. So I call it your unique selling point. So really what are your experience, what are your skills, what are your strengths, which we usually don't know. We know kind of about our skills and our experiences, so we put usually in the CV, but we usually don't really know about our strengths. And it's an important work to know about them and to really empower them, to embody them, and to be to use them even more. It's like really having a special weapon on us, but we never use it because we don't know that we have it. So it's a
Mm.
little bit pity. So that's the first thing. So your USP, so knowing how different or unique you are. Then we look at what you really want to put together. So what kind of project? So we look in different, sometimes I ask really to look at 3 different kind of projects that you could create. Then we look at all what you, like a roadmap, what you would need to have that, like all the resources that you would need, time, energy, money, and so on. And then we look at your personal branding. So how to get seen, because it's good to know what you want to know, to do, and to know your uniqueness. But if nobody see it, then you have a problem. So it's really like to accept to be seen and to go for it, to negotiate as well, to like to have this what I call is like the effortless negotiation. So
Mm-hmm.
because usually we think that in order to be good in negotiation, we have to be this powerful person, but maybe a little bit too brutal and too not empath enough, stuff like that. But there is a very nice way to be good at negotiation and to have these win-win solutions and situations. So we look at that. So how to get what you want to get by being visible, by creating the opportunity, by connecting with the right person, and by negotiating what you need to negotiate for what you need to do. So that's the step that we do. Usually we do that in 3 months. It's kind of intensive, but it's to have the momentum again. So to have the energy and to go with that. And we have very nice results in these 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a powerful part, right? Once you start seeing the results and your external being, reflecting your internal, then it's just so easy to continue, like you said, with that momentum and like move off of that.
Yeah. And then to create the right support system. So you don't do that alone, you do that with other ladies. So after that, you can still use this support system. That the idea to recreate a community, and again to think, oh, I am not a weirdo, I am strange, I am what I think. And so like the expat life, there's so many people thinking, wow, that's so cool to be expat and you do nothing and you're on the pool and you drink cocktails and so on. So that's the typical cliche. Well, it can be a little bit of that, but it's not only that, and sometimes it's not that at all. So yeah, and then you can just again, taking your emotions, knowing that it's okay to feel whatever you feel, and then going with that, with the momentum, with other person, with a supporting system, and then you find your way.
Yeah.
And that stabilized the family.
Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful what you do and helping people like that, in that way. I think it's so powerful. Do you primarily work with people in person or is it all online?
I do more online. I have my clients are a little bit everywhere. I have a few clients in US. I have most of them are in Europe. Coming from different nationalities. Some of them are in China, for instance. So usually I have them on Zoom. Only the one living in the same country, the same city. So I'm really, really happy to meet them. Or sometimes I have like this contract in Frankfurt, in the city I'm living, with university or with schools and so on. So then I can see and meet them. But usually it's online.
Okay. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this. I think it'll really be helpful for so many people. And if you want to let them know where they can find you as well, I'll have it in the show notes as well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have my website, and my website is my name. So it's www.christellepilot.com, and Christelle is Christelle. Pilot or pillow is Pillot. And then you can find me on Instagram as well. And it's Freedom Catcher Academy. That's the name. And you can find me on LinkedIn as well. So I'm very, very present there. And you can chat with me. I'm really always happy to connect with people wherever you are. Really happy always to get connection, to get contact. And then we never know. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Christelle.
Thank you very much for having me with you.
Of course.